What if I told you that everything you've been chasing in life could be completely misunderstood, that decades of struggle, worry, and endless planning might have been unnecessary? In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to share 10 powerful truths about life, 10 lessons that could completely transform how you live, think, and feel. Listen carefully, because these are the principles that most people only realize after 30 or 40 years, but you can grasp them today. Here are 10 life-changing insights. Pay close attention because mastering these will show you how to truly stop wasting your life and start living fully. Number 1. Life is not a problem to solve. Most people go through life treating it like a series of problems to be solved. From the moment we are taught to grow up, we're told, set goals, fix what's broken, achieve success, overcome challenges. Everywhere we look, life is presented as a puzzle, a challenge, a series of obstacles standing between us and happiness. But what if this approach is exactly what blinds us to the beauty of living? Life is not a problem to solve. It is not something to be conquered or controlled. It is not a test with a clear answer at the end. The moment we approach it as a problem, we create tension, struggle, and anxiety. We turn every experience into a means to an end, always striving for an imaginary destination that promises fulfillment. Yet, in this constant striving, we miss the only place where life truly happens, the present moment. Think about a river. Water flows effortlessly, taking its shape according to the contours of the land. It does not struggle against the rocks, nor does it attempt to solve the landscape. It simply flows, and in flowing, it fulfills its purpose. Life, in the same way, is meant to be experienced, not fixed. We are part of this river, and trying to force ourselves to control every twist and turn only creates friction, suffering, and resistance. The irony is that in our attempts to solve life, we create the very problems we wish to escape. We worry about the future, regret the past, compare ourselves to others, and chase achievements as if they are the key to meaning. All of these mental constructs are born from the belief that life is a puzzle. But when we begin to see life as a living, breathing experience, an unfolding process rather than a problem, we start to release the tension. Instead of seeing obstacles, we see opportunities to move, to adapt, to feel. Instead of chasing perfection, we embrace imperfection. We stop trying to arrive at some final solution and begin to dance with the flow of existence itself. In this way, life transforms from a relentless struggle into a continuous, ever-changing adventure. Number 2. The present is all there is. Most of us live our lives trapped in a mental time machine, constantly oscillating between the past and the future. We replay memories, obsess over regrets, and cling to what has already happened. At the same time, we anxiously plan, predict, and worry about what is yet to come. Rarely do we pause to inhabit the one place where life truly exists, the present moment. The present is not just another segment of time. It is the only reality we ever experience directly. The past exists only as a memory in our minds, often distorted, incomplete, or laden with emotion. The future exists only as an imagination, a projection of possibilities that may never occur. Both are constructs, fleeting and intangible. Yet, we give them far more attention than the reality unfolding right now. Think about breathing. Each breath comes and goes, and yet we rarely notice it unless something forces our awareness to it. Life flows in the same way. Every sensation, every sound, every interaction occurs in the present. Yet, our minds are often elsewhere, wandering, judging, or planning. In doing so, we miss the richness of life that is happening here and now. When you truly begin to experience the present, something remarkable happens. Time expands. Ordinary moments, watching the wind ripple across leaves, hearing laughter, feeling the warmth of sunlight, become extraordinary when fully observed. Life is not in the accumulation of achievements, memories, or future plans. It is in the noticing, the feeling, the awareness of what is happening right this moment. The challenge is that the mind loves to escape the present. It constantly seeks certainty, security, and predictability, which exist only in mental constructs. By doing this, we treat life as if it were elsewhere, never realizing that the richness we seek is already under our fingertips. Every second you are fully present is a second of genuine life, free from illusion, regret, and anxiety. The art of living, therefore, is learning to inhabit the now, to immerse yourself completely in experience without clinging, judging, or resisting. It is a practice of presence, a willingness to feel, perceive, and move with life rather than against it. The present is not something to master or control. It is something to embrace, to flow with, and to allow yourself to be fully immersed in at every moment. Number 3, stop chasing happiness. From an early age, we are conditioned to pursue happiness as if it were a destination at the end of a long and complicated journey. We chase achievements, relationships, possessions, and experiences, believing that accumulating these things will finally bring lasting joy. Yet, the more we chase, the more elusive happiness becomes. It slips through our fingers like water, and the very act of seeking it creates tension, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. Happiness is not something to grasp or acquire. It is not a prize waiting at the end of a checklist, nor is it a reward for enduring life's difficulties. The moment we treat happiness as an object, we make it conditional, dependent on circumstances, people, or external validation. This mindset keeps us trapped in a cycle of wanting, striving, and perpetual dissatisfaction. Consider a wave in the ocean. It does not attempt to grasp the sea or hold onto the shore. It simply rises, flows, and falls naturally. The wave experiences its movement fully, and in doing so it embodies the essence of what it is. Happiness is like this wave. It is a byproduct of fully engaging with life, rather than a goal to be pursued. When we stop resisting life and simply participate in it, joy emerges spontaneously. Chasing happiness often means we are trying to escape discomfort. We avoid pain, uncertainty, and sadness, hoping that happiness will somehow fill the void left by our resistance. Yet, life is a spectrum of experiences, and attempting to isolate joy from suffering is like trying to separate sunlight from shadows. Both are essential, and recognizing this balance allows us to see that happiness is not a thing to chase, but a natural state that arises when we stop forcing it. The paradox is that the more we let go of the frantic pursuit, the more happiness finds us. By embracing the present, accepting imperfection, and flowing with life's rhythm, we allow joy to appear in its own time. True happiness is not a goal, it is an experience, a quality of presence that can only exist when we stop clinging to the idea that we must earn, achieve, or secure it. Number 4, your mind creates illusions. One of the most subtle yet powerful traps in life is the way our own minds fabricate reality. We tend to assume that what we think, fear, or imagine is the absolute truth, forgetting that the mind is a storyteller, constantly weaving narratives, drawing connections, and creating patterns where none may exist. These mental constructs shape how we perceive the world, but they are not the world itself. Consider how often we misinterpret events based on our assumptions or past experiences. A simple comment from a friend might be twisted into criticism, a minor failure blown out of proportion, or a fleeting worry turned into a lifelong fear. Our minds take fragments of reality and amplify them, coloring our perception with emotions, biases, and expectations. The illusions are so convincing that we act as if they are real, allowing them to dictate our behavior and limit our potential. Illusions also manifest in the identities we cling to, the labels, roles, and stories we tell ourselves about who we are. I am shy. I am unlucky. I am not creative enough. These self-imposed boundaries confine us, convincing us that life must conform to our imagined limitations. In reality, we are far more fluid and capable than our minds would have us believe. The very act of recognizing these illusions begins to dissolve their power. Life itself is a constant dance of perception. What we see, hear, and feel is filtered through layers of thought, memory, and expectation. The problem arises when we mistake these filters for truth, when we confuse the map for the territory. The more rigidly we cling to these mental narratives, the further we distance ourselves from direct experience. By observing the mind without judgment, we can see how it constructs problems, fears, and identities that do not inherently exist. Awareness of these illusions is not an intellectual exercise. It is a practice of presence. By stepping back from the stories our mind tells, we begin to notice life as it unfolds, moment by moment, without distortion. The clouds of anxiety, doubt, and comparison start to lift, revealing a clarity that is always there, but often obscured by mental chatter. Once we see that these illusions are just that, illusions, we gain freedom to act, feel, and live in ways previously blocked by imagined limitations. Number 5, detach from control. From a young age, we are taught to control our environment, our outcomes, and even the people around us. Society praises planning, discipline, and the ability to dominate circumstances, making it seem as though mastery of control is the key to happiness and success. Yet, life is not a machine to be operated, nor a chessboard to be won. It is an unpredictable, flowing process that cannot be fully commanded. The desire to control stems from fear of uncertainty, failure, and discomfort. We attempt to manipulate events and relationships to secure safety, comfort, and predictability. But this very compulsion creates tension, frustration, and a sense of inadequacy whenever things do not align with our plans. The paradox is that the harder we try to seize control, the more life slips through our grasp, leaving us exhausted and dissatisfied. Detachment from control does not mean passivity or irresponsibility. It means participating fully in life while recognizing the limits of your influence. Like a surfer riding a wave, you cannot control the ocean, but you can adjust, respond, and flow with it. Life's currents are always shifting, and by clinging too tightly to specific outcomes, we resist the natural rhythm of change, creating unnecessary struggle. Consider how often we obsess over future scenarios, worrying about what might happen, attempting to micromanage events, or dictating how others should behave. In doing so, we spend immense energy on illusions of control. The truth is that no plan, no strategy, and no effort can guarantee the unfolding of life exactly as we desire. Everything is transient, and every outcome is influenced by countless factors beyond our perception or power. Freedom comes when we acknowledge this truth and loosen our grip. By detaching from control, we invite spontaneity, creativity, and unexpected opportunities. We stop resisting the flow of life and start moving with it, responding instead of forcing, adapting instead of struggling, and embracing uncertainty as a natural, fertile ground for growth. This detachment allows us to engage fully in each moment, appreciating its nuances without being bound by rigid expectations. Life is a dance, not a battle. The less we cling to the illusion of control, the more vibrant, fluid, and alive our experience becomes. By letting go of the need to dominate circumstances, we create space for the unforeseen beauty and synchronicity that only emerge when life is allowed to unfold naturally. Number 6. Embrace uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and yet most of us spend our energy trying to eliminate uncertainty. We plan meticulously, seek security, and cling to routines, believing that certainty is the foundation of safety and happiness. But the truth is that uncertainty is not a threat. It is the very essence of life, the fertile ground from which growth, creativity, and freedom emerge. The human mind craves predictability because it equates the unknown with danger. We imagine worst-case scenarios, rehearse failures, and resist change, creating a constant undercurrent of anxiety. Yet, life is never static. It is a flowing, dynamic process in which nothing remains fixed. By resisting uncertainty, we resist life itself, and in doing so, we miss the richness and spontaneity that make existence vibrant. Consider nature. A river does not resist the rocks in its path, nor does it fret over storms or droughts. It adapts, curves, and flows, embracing the unknown terrain with grace. Life, like the river, unfolds best when we stop clinging to expectations and allow ourselves to move with the current. Uncertainty is not something to fear. It is the canvas upon which new experiences, insights, and opportunities are painted. Embracing uncertainty requires a shift in perspective. Instead of viewing the unknown as a source of danger, see it as a space of possibility. Every moment that is unplanned, every experience that surprises you, offers lessons and opportunities that rigid control could never provide. Uncertainty encourages flexibility, creativity, and a deeper engagement with life because it forces us to be fully present and responsive. Most of the suffering we experience comes not from the unknown itself, but from our resistance to it. We attempt to impose structure where there is none, to predict outcomes that cannot be predicted, and to hold life still in our hands. By accepting that uncertainty is natural, inevitable, and even beautiful, we begin to flow with existence rather than fight it. The paradox is that the more we embrace uncertainty, the more empowered we feel, freed from the illusion that life must conform to our expectations. We become participants in a dynamic, unfolding adventure. Each twist, turn, and unexpected event becomes an opportunity for growth, discovery, and joy, revealing that uncertainty is not a void to fear, but a doorway to freedom, creativity, and authentic living. Number 7. Everything changes, including you. One of the most profound truths about life is that nothing remains the same. Every moment brings change, subtle or dramatic, and yet most of us resist it. We cling to people, places, routines, and identities, hoping that stability will protect us from the discomfort of impermanence. But the universe is not designed to stay still, and resisting change only leads to frustration, fear, and suffering. We often define ourselves by our past achievements, habits, or roles, as if these labels are permanent. I am this, I am that. We tell ourselves believing in the illusion of continuity, yet the person you were yesterday is not the same as the person you are today, and the person you are today will not exist tomorrow in the same way. Life is a continuous process of transformation, and clinging to a fixed self is like trying to grasp smoke. It slips away the moment you reach for it. Change is not something to endure, it is something to participate in. Every experience, every encounter, and every challenge reshapes you, whether you recognize it or not. The seasons of life teach us this constantly. Leaves fall and regrow, rivers carve new paths, and the sun rises and sets without hesitation. Our inner lives follow the same natural rhythm. Accepting that we are always in flux allows us to flow more freely, to embrace growth, and to let go of attachments that no longer serve us. Resistance to change creates unnecessary suffering. We fight aging, relationships evolve or end, careers shift, and circumstances transform. Yet we try to hold life in a fixed state. The harder we cling, the more pain we experience, because life will always move forward with or without our consent. By recognizing the inevitability of change, we can approach life with curiosity rather than fear, learning to see endings as openings and transitions as opportunities. Change also reveals the beauty of impermanence. Every moment is precious because it is fleeting, and every experience is alive precisely because it will not last forever. By embracing change, we allow ourselves to grow, adapt, and explore new possibilities. We stop resisting the natural flow and start participating fully in the dance of life, understanding that our own evolution is not a threat, but a gift, and that life itself is a continuous unfolding of infinite variations. Number 8. Stop living for approval. Much of human suffering comes from the need for validation. From childhood, we are taught to seek approval. Good grades, praise from parents, recognition from peers, and admiration from society. We internalize the belief that our worth depends on external acknowledgement, and so we shape our thoughts, actions, and even desires around what others will accept or admire. Yet, living for approval is like building a house on sand. No matter how impressive it looks, it is unstable, vulnerable, and ultimately unfulfilling. Seeking validation traps us in a cycle of comparison. We constantly measure ourselves against others, wondering if we are good enough, smart enough, or successful enough. Every step we take becomes filtered through the lens of judgment, and every decision is influenced by fear of criticism or rejection. In doing so, we lose touch with our own intuition, creativity, and authenticity, allowing the opinions of others to dictate the course of our lives. The paradox is that the more we chase approval, the further we drift from true fulfillment. Genuine satisfaction cannot be borrowed or bought. It emerges naturally when we honor our own values, passions, and instincts. By attempting to please others, we sacrifice our own potential, limiting the expression of who we truly are. Living for approval is not only exhausting, but also alienates us from our own inner voice, the part of us that knows what is meaningful and right. Freedom comes when we stop caring about how we are perceived and start paying attention to how we feel, think, and create. It means listening to our own inner compass, trusting our instincts, and making choices based on authenticity rather than expectation. When we release the need for external validation, life opens up in surprising ways. Relationships become more honest, creativity flows more naturally, and experiences feel more alive because they are not filtered through the need to impress. Authenticity is a form of courage. It requires standing in your own truth, even when it conflicts with societal norms or popular opinion. It means expressing yourself fully, embracing your quirks, and following the path that resonates with your heart rather than the path that earns applause. Once we stop living for approval, we realize that the voice we were seeking outside was always within, and that the approval of others, while tempting, is never as fulfilling as the quiet certainty of living in alignment with our own nature. Number 9. Life is meant to be lived, not analyzed. Human beings have an extraordinary ability to think, reflect, and analyze, but this very gift can become a trap. We are so accustomed to dissecting life, categorizing experiences, and judging every moment that we often forget to actually live it. Endless analysis distances us from the raw, unfiltered reality of existence, turning life into a series of concepts rather than a series of experiences. We obsess over questions like, am I doing this right? Or what should I do next? And while reflection has its place, overthinking becomes a barrier. When we analyze too much, we create layers of interpretation between ourselves and the world, filtering every sensation, emotion, and interaction through mental commentary. In this process, life's spontaneity and vitality slip quietly past us. Consider a child playing. The child does not pause to assess whether their actions are meaningful or correct. They simply engage, explore, and enjoy. Every movement, every laugh, every discovery is fully experienced. This is the essence of living, immersion in the present, without the interference of constant judgment or speculation. Adults, however, often trade this immediacy for intellectualization, believing that understanding must come before enjoyment. The irony is that life rarely waits for our comprehension. It unfolds anyway, whether we are fully present or not. Analysis can also create fear. By constantly questioning and evaluating, we magnify uncertainties and amplify insecurities. We anticipate problems, imagine failures, and weigh consequences endlessly, often preventing ourselves from taking action or fully experiencing the richness of the moment. By trying to control life through thought, we distance ourselves from the very experiences we seek, missing the subtle lessons hidden in each unfolding event. To live fully is to participate without constant commentary, to allow moments to flow through us without dissecting them. It is to listen to music without labeling every note, to walk in nature without thinking about its beauty, to engage in conversation without planning the perfect response. Life is not a puzzle to solve, but a dance to move with, a river to float upon, and a story to experience rather than narrate. The more we surrender the compulsion to analyze, The more vivid and immediate life becomes, experiences regain their richness, emotions become more authentic, and we discover a deep sense of connection to the world around us. Living without constant analysis opens the door to intuition, creativity, and the spontaneous joy that arises naturally when we stop trying to figure everything out. Number 10. Let go and let life flow. One of the most profound lessons in life is the art of surrender, learning to release the illusion of control and allowing life to unfold naturally. Many of us struggle against the currents of existence, trying to force outcomes, dictate events, and mold reality to fit our desires. Yet, the harder we push, the more resistance we encounter, and the more drained we become. Life is not meant to be wrestled into submission. It is meant to be experienced in harmony with its rhythm. Letting go does not mean giving up or abandoning responsibility. It means participating fully in life without clinging to expectations or demanding specific results. Like a leaf floating on a river, we are carried forward by the current of existence. The leaf does not struggle against the flow, nor does it attempt to determine its exact path. It simply moves, bends, and adapts. In the same way, life asks us to embrace its movement, trusting that the process itself is intelligent and sufficient. Clinging to outcomes creates suffering. We fixate on what should happen, fear what might happen, and obsess over controlling circumstances beyond our reach. In doing so, we generate tension and anxiety, cutting ourselves off from the natural spontaneity and beauty of life. By contrast, when we let go, we open space for creativity, insight, and unexpected opportunities to emerge. Surrender is not passivity. It is a dynamic engagement with life, rooted in awareness rather than resistance. The act of letting go also reveals the impermanence of all things. Relationships, possessions, careers, and even our own identities are transient, constantly evolving. By releasing attachment, we experience life more fully and authentically, appreciating each moment for what it is, rather than what we wish it to be. We move from fear and resistance into curiosity, acceptance, and joy, recognizing that true freedom comes not from holding tight, but from flowing freely. When we let life flow, we discover that much of our stress and struggle is self-created. The universe is always moving, always changing, always offering new possibilities. By surrendering the illusion of control, we align ourselves with the natural rhythm of existence, allowing life to teach, guide, and delight us in ways that rigid planning and obsessive striving never could. In this surrender, we uncover a deeper sense of peace, creativity, and connection, and we begin to live as life itself, rather than as a force struggling against it.